All right, good evening, everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started this evening. Looks like the Zoom those that are going to join have joined. We got a good number on tonight for our first webinar in a while. So thank you everybody for joining us for our LodgeMaster user webinar. This one we have a specific topic towards the end, but in general, just going to give some project updates. We hadn't talked to everybody for a while, so we wanted to get everybody together and let everybody know what we kind of been working on, what's coming up. How you can join some upcoming trainings this summer. And then something new we did this month is we invited all the Lodge Key 3 actually. And by the last count, we had over 100 Lodge Key 3 members joining us this evening to talk and learn more about the inductions module. So we're really excited to have them on. And with that, we'll jump into just a couple of housekeeping items here. Tonight's webinar is scheduled for 50 minutes. There's a little typo there, but we'll do some project updates, then the hands-on and the inductions module, which we are kind of gearing towards our Lodge Key 3 folks who are joining us, but I know we have a lot of seasoned LodgeMaster administrators and users on the call, so we welcome your questions about the inductions module, or if your Lodge does something really good, send it to us in the Q&A, and maybe we can talk about it. We will then end with a Q&A. So I think everybody nowadays is familiar with Zoom, but there is a Q&A button. You go ahead and submit your questions that way. The chat is turned off, so you will have to use that Q&A. We will send the slides and the recording out sometime tomorrow. So moving into project updates and what we've kind of been up to. If you're on our email list, you'll get these get these announcements in your inbox. If you're not on our email list, I encourage you to go to lodgemaster.oa-bsa.org and subscribe to our emails. There's a form there on the right-hand side of the page. That email list is not shared with anybody else in the OA. It's exclusive to the LodgeMaster group here, and we use that list to send out project announcements, updates, policy changes, upcoming feature releases. We also send out the notices for webinars and in-person trainings when we have those, and events that we may be at that we are going to be doing training. I encourage you to subscribe to that list if you haven't. We don't send very many emails, but the emails we do send are important, so we try to keep the keep the count down. The couple major changes I'm going to talk about or updates. PMP, the 2024 PMP has been loaded into the Lodge databases and pushed out. So the National Committee this year got through that process of approving the 2024 objectives and goals early. And so the team did get that pushed out to everybody, so you can start running those PMP reports to see where your lodge is currently at. We have those reports also that you can run as if it's the year end to do a projection of where you're at. So those have all been updated for 2024. So as you have LEC meetings and trainings and the lodge gets together, you can start running those so you have a pretty good idea early on in the year where you'd end up with PMP at the end of the year. We encourage everybody to run those reports to keep on top of where your lodge will be at the end of the year on PMP. There's no reason to have any surprises because those reports are available all year to anyone with access to the JTE or the PMP, module, and you can go run those reports and see where you're at. We made a couple small adjustments to the built-in views and members to accommodate that new 18-month period that candidates have. And so when you go into LodgeMaster now, we renamed 2 of the views. So the previous view, the Ordeal candidates, it was -elected. We renamed that to elected candidates. A little shorter name, and that's it uses the same date range. It uses the election year date range in that filter. And then the Ordeal candidates remaining, we renamed that to Ordeal eligible. We'll show you that view, but that lets you put in the date of your upcoming Ordeal, and it'll show you everybody who's eligible for those 18 months through that event. So as you're maybe looking to schedule those events, you have one coming up and you want to send mailings to kind of target those who are eligible. Those elected, this year, but those who have the additional 6 months with the national policy to complete that, that view lets you, send them an email or export them to a mailing to send them letters or target them in some kind of a communication. So those views are in everybody's database. We push those out about the middle of March. We push those out, and those are available. Around that same time, um, if you're on our email list, we also updated the induction emails, the automated emails that come from the induction module, which we're going to talk about for the bulk of the time this evening, with the help of some of the national subcommittee. We changed the subject line, some of those emails, and some of the content of the email. The intent of the emails is all the same, but the subjects and the body content has been updated to reflect to be more inclusive and foster a sense of belonging with all the members that those go to. Um, and so the membership retention committee helped us with those. It's a subcommittee on the national committee, and so those were all pushed out on April 2nd. So just last Tuesday, we pushed those changes out. We are working on updating the documentation. We have the knowledge base page that lists all the emails and the subjects and who they go for or who they go to, and if you can, turn them on and off. We will be working over the next week or so to update that page so that you can see the differences in the subjects. So that if you have any lodge, handbooks or guides, or your election teams, do anything with, anything with those subject names of the emails, you can go look at what those new subject names will be. We'll put in what the old was and what the new. There was a few emails that didn't change, and so you'll see that highlighted. But if you go to the support center, you can find that knowledge base article. The other change, which we'll highlight when we get into the demo here, we added a new metric to the dashboard. So when you're on the dashboard under candidates, there's a new carryover calculation. And that shows you those candidates that are still eligible with that additional 6-month or the 18-month period. So when the dashboard's looking at your 2024 statistics, you'll be able to see the number that are still eligible from the previous year that have 6 months. They have that 6-month period left to complete those. We will if they complete the ordeal this year in the 2024 period or whatever year you're looking at, we will count that in the induction number. It'll show in the carryover, so you can see it in both places. And all the reports, the vital statistics and everything have been updated to reflect that 18-month period as well. So with that, we are going to get into the demo tonight, or the bulk of what we're going to talk about in the inductions module. And so, as I mentioned, for some of our more seasoned admins, this may be stuff you already know. But we did, with the LodgeMaster, we do a lot of work with lodges at LLDs or section training events. If your lodge is part of the Thrive program, the LodgeMaster team gets frequently asked to join those and help lodges with LodgeMaster. And we realized, working with lodges, especially this spring, that there's still a lot of lodges that aren't familiar with our inductions module. And so we wanted to do this webinar so that we could do kind of a new run through. Not that a lot has changed since we released this, but the last one was a little while ago. So this will be our new run through of the inductions. So for those Lodge Key 3 members who are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us, and hopefully you get a lot out of this inductions module training. And definitely those, seasoned admins, or those that have been using inductions module for 2 or 3 years now. If there's something maybe you've always wondered or not quite sure how something works, we still get questions from even some of our early adopters. Well, how does this email work, or who does this go to, or what's the best process? We're happy to answer those questions this evening. So I'm going to reshare my screen here and move over to the Lodge client. And we'll see here if our screen, all right, everybody should be able to see my screen now. So I'm going to go to portal.oa-bsi.org. We're going to log into our test console here this evening. This is all anonymized data. So if you do take screenshots of anything, it is safe to use those anywhere. This is all anonymous data and safe to repost. When we log in here on the dashboard, you can see that carryover number. Now in our sandbox lodge, that's 0. If our demo magic works, I do have another one of our sandboxes here, a little more data. You can see that 42. So that indicates that those are 42 still eligible this year that are carrying over into this period. And if, like as I mentioned, if they do complete their ordeal, you will see it in the induction number and the induction count. We do call out here that there are 42 carrying over. That was a request to see those easier. And so we did get that added to the latest release. Everybody can see that in their dashboard. And we did go back, and it is calculated for 2023, those that would have carried over that 6+ months into 2023. So getting into the LodgeMaster client here, on the left, we have inductions. If you log in and don't see this, you need to talk to your Lodge admin and get permission to the inductions module. That's the first hurdle. You'll bug your Lodge administrator if they don't want to give you, access. Maybe it's time for a review of those admins with the Scout exec and the Lodge Key 3, and explain to them the benefits of using the inductions module and all the other features of LodgeMaster. We had a question that came in before that I'm going to answer now about who should have access to the inductions module. The inductions module is built for everybody to have access. We want to make that very clear on the call tonight. And as we go through this, and every piece of this module has been built with every access level LodgeMaster in mind, whether you have access at a chapter level, maybe a more area level, or a grouping of chapters, or the lodge level. The module fully supports that. And so the simple answer is everybody should have access. It's designed that way, and it works best. We've seen in some of the largest lodges, when they give everybody access and all the youth are engaged in the inductions process, they see really good results because everybody's engaged and has access to the same data and is looking at the same numbers and can see how many elections are left, how many have been completed, and they can see how the lodge is doing. And the youth get excited to go in there and put data in and be part of the process. When we first log in, we get the dashboard here with some vital statistics. You can export this vital statistics report, and it exports the dashboard content into a nice report that you could take to a chapter meeting. You can run it for the whole lodge. You can run it for your chapter. If you only have access to maybe your chapter, you'll only see your chapter in the list, and the statistics on the dashboard will be only for your chapter. That's why we say it's open for everybody, because it's built that way. The first thing to do as a lodge, if you haven't used the inductions module, is to come in here to induction setup. And this is where you're typically somebody with maybe like your elections advisor or the lodge advisor, lodge chief, membership advisor will come in here and set this up. So the first step is to set up our election contacts, both youth and adults. So the election contact, youth and their advisor, the new member coordinator, the new member contact and their advisor. You enter their names there. You can simply search LodgeMaster and you'll find every member in there. And you go ahead and plop their name in. You specify the election request start date, end date. These are used for the member portal. So Scoutmasters will get an invite, a link in their email to the member portal, asking them to schedule their election. They get an email like this with a link that takes them to the portal. These dates control when that portal is available. It cuts off on 9:30. It's available starting 1/1. Same with the adult nominations. That's when they can, the period in which they can submit adult nominations online. They get an email where they can go in and do that. If they click that link after this date, it's turned off. We do have toggles here if your elections are run by chapters, and if unit access, if they can use the portal, are there. The next step is to come down and define your chapter contacts. And so we're building out the module at this point, giving it all the data it needs to do all the magic behind the scenes. So it lists all your chapters in here. It's very easy to come in and hit the edit pencil and start entering those youth contacts for the lodge and their advisor. You can save that. In your lodge, if you don't have, these are optional. If you don't have, one of these, or maybe it's the same person, that's totally fine. You can put the same person in here if that youth election contact is the candidate contact as well. It's fine to put the same person there. In our larger lodges, that's typically somebody different, and it fully supports putting different names in there. And so you can go through, you fill this out. You put in, the advisors and the youth. There you can see I have different, and it fills that out. If you don't have anybody, for one of these chapters, it will use the lodge level contact. So maybe you start the election season, you don't have somebody for a chapter or something. You can leave it blank. It'll use the adult contact. You can come in here at any point during your election season and change it. If something happens to Chad and he's not able to fill in, but Rob's going to fill in for him, you can go in and change that, and it'll update anything going forward. We then have the communication section. This is where we'll spend a few minutes here talking about what this is. There's a lot of buttons here and a lot of things it can do. What I would recommend, if you haven't used this before, or setting up a New Year's, to use our communications wizard. So the Start Communications Wizard, this will guide you through setting up all 20 or so emails. A lot of emails, but as you see when we go through them, it's a lot, but they all make sense and they're all laid out in a way that matches the OA's election process. The first step is to get people to invite those scoutmasters, submit their elections. We have this election scheduling request. You put in the send date when you want it to start sending. You'll see this is enabled. I won't cover this on every email, but we have this is enabled. And that's how you can turn an email on and off. And then all the templates are the same. You'll see these custom lodge blocks. Now, some emails may have 4 blocks, some may have 2, some may have 1. But these custom blocks are where you can customize these emails. And you can see over here on the right, these update in real time. As I take things out, those emails update. So I can put additional information in there to tailor these emails to the lodge or to your lodge. You can see down here what we call our substitutions, and these they may look a little funky, but if you just read the text between the brackets, it'll tell you what's going to fill in there. So at the bottom of the email, we put your lodge website, we put that elections contact, their youth name, we put their lodge email, and we put their advisor. Up here at the top, you can see we fill in the unit leader's name, we put in their unit number. So that's kind of how you read those emails. This is an example of an email that was updated for the new, more inclusive and welcoming language to Scoutmasters. Explains maybe a little differently what the OA was. So as you can see, for those familiar with these emails, not a lot has changed. Just a little tweaking of the language, and so that's the theme throughout the emails. I'll step through a few of these emails, but they all work pretty similar. This is the reminder where you can specify how frequently it sends the reminder. So you can send a reminder every 15 days, maybe every 30 days I want to send the reminder, and you can pick between when you send that reminder. If you notice on that first one, I forget the date we put in, but if you send the first email on April 1st, maybe you don't want to start sending a reminder on the 2nd. Give those Scoutmasters a little bit of time. We know they struggle to check their email. They're busy and have lots of other things going on in addition to their 1 hour week being Scoutmaster. So bump that out a few weeks, and then give them, maybe we give them a couple months, to request those elections. We give them until July 1st. Every 30 days, once a month, we send them a reminder. And there's that is enabled, and there's that custom block again. The emails all work the same. I'll quickly go through these, and you can get an idea of how they work. Here's one where we send reminders to the Scoutmaster about their upcoming election. You can specify how frequently they get those, so they can get up to 3 reminders, 14 days before, 7 and 3 before. And the emails all work the same. You can see in our sandbox, some of them are enabled, some are disabled. But here's where you get 3 blocks to add. And as we step through these, you can kind of see how those emails work. If you don't want them on, just toggle them off. When we get to the end of the wizard here, we'll save and close, and all our emails are set up. Once you've gone through that wizard, if you want to update an individual email, you can just come in here and hit the pencil and go in here and change a text block if you want to add some more information. So now that we've done that, the emails will start going out. Scoutmasters will start getting emails about scheduling their election. It tells them, what the requirements are. When they ignore that email, they get a reminder email. I don't know if I can't find an example, but they get a reminder email. It reminds them about the coming up. They can go in and schedule an election. When they get that email and they click the link, they are taken to a page that looks like this. They can come in here. They can request an election on their own. No login required. They just click the link in the email. They can forward this email to somebody, maybe their OA advisor in the unit, whatever. They forward that to them. They go in, they request an election. They fill out their 3 dates that they're available. Where the election's happening, any special notes about, where to come into the building, or, arrive at this time, or we're going to have you, do the election after this event or something. Any special notes the team needs. You fill out the unit leader's contact information and then your information. If you're not the unit leader, maybe you are, you put the same information in there. If you're filling it out for the unit leader, you put their information in and then yours. Through the magic of our demo, we have a unit that has already submitted one for us. On our dashboard, when you log in, here, Crew 90 has requested an election. So they filled that portal out and submitted that. When I log in as a chapter chief at the lodge level, I see this visit scheduling. So I'm going to open that up. I can see that somebody requested election for Group 90. They put in their 3 dates. They didn't leave any special notes. So we're going to go ahead and pick April 11th. And we'll put in they said their unit election was at 9:30. That seems a little early, but we can bump that out. We have down here what you're going to do when you go do that election. So our unit election, are you doing a unit election, camp promotion, OA promotion? Hopefully you're doing all 3. If you're not doing a unit election, you can turn that off and just record a unit visit. Maybe your camp registration is closed, you're not doing a camp promotion, you can turn that off, and so forth. The contact, where it's happening, they put an email in the address here. Not great data, but this is our little demo. You may have to call the Scoutmaster. That's where their information's up here. Their email followed by PT if you send the Scoutmaster an email. Their information down here, and I'm going to save that. This opens my election. At this point, the Scoutmaster is going to get an email about preparing for their unit election. So this reminds them, it tells them when their election is. It has a template to import eligible youth that they can fill out and send back to you. And we'll go through how you can use that. They can also go online and submit eligible youth. So when they click this link, it'll take them to a portal. Again, no login, single sign-on, single link. They could forward this to their advancement person and ask them to put it in based on Scout book data, what have you. When they get to that page, they can submit the youth. They put in all their information. If they sent you the template, a very cool feature under Visit Election Management, if we go to Crew 90, I can import the eligible youth. Maybe they sent me that file or they exported something from Scout book and modified it. So I'm going to hit import eligible youth. I'll select the file. Here, Scoutmasters sent us a candidate list. These are the columns in our file. We can map those to LodgeMaster fields. If they use the template we provide, all those will match up nicely for you. You won't have to do anything to get that data in there. If they use slightly different names, you can match it up where to put it. We hit Start Import, and this will import those candidates to the election. I'm going to hit yes to go into that. Over here, our demo has loaded up. This is the portal. They could hit Add Eligible Youth, and they go through, and they just fill out the youth information. And then those would automatically populate into the election record. And I'll show you where those go. But you can import it as well. So at this point, the units have scheduled their election. They've got the emails about what they need to do to prepare. They've sent you the eligible. Now you can print you're ready to go to the election on site. So you can print your unit election report. This is that report that you take with you. You can see the names populated in here. These were the importer, they put them in. You can see the unit, the data that's happening, the unit leader information fills in, and then this is that data that we collect on site. Back when I was a chapter chief and when most of the LodgeMaster team was, and we had paper ballots that you scribbled names on. We have now nice printed ballots. So the unit election ballots, you can print these out and take them with you. A nice simple vote for, no deciphering what the OA symbols mean that somebody has drawn on the ballot, or what the 25 ways that somebody spelled yes, or how they wrote some name. You can now just simply print out these ballots and take them with. You can send them to the Scoutmaster ahead of time, ask them to print them, print them yourselves. We also have a candidate information form, has all the candidates information as the unit, put it in there, so you can take those with you, verify it's correct. We do have some blank spots on there, so if you get there and they say, oh, somebody transferred the troop, I forgot to put somebody in, or they became eligible last week, and I put my request in a while ago, you can have them fill this out and then come type it into LodgeMaster later. I can edit this election at any time and change anything about it if I need to reschedule it. I can come down here and edit the eligible youth. This is in the election record. So I could add somebody. You just fill out the information. I could drop somebody off if they moved away in the time since we scheduled this. I can save and close that. On my dashboard, I can see my upcoming visit. We're going to Crew 90 on April 11th. So if you're a chapter chief and come here, you'll see all your upcoming visits by visit date. You'll only see your chapter, so it's very easy to see what elections you have coming up. A lodge person would see elections for all the lodge, or for every chapter. Now we've gone on site. And we've actually done that election. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to post my results. Um, hit post results. In here, uh, if I scroll down, you'll see here's where we actually post that status of those if they were elected or not elected. We have a couple statuses. We have elected, not elected, and declined. The youth always, as a reminder, have an option to decline being on the ballot and being part of that election process. So if somebody declined, you can mark it declined. Otherwise, I'd come in here and mark everybody that was elected as elected. If they were not elected, we've marked them as such. We'll go through and we have a few declines, and if you're not elected, you can save this and come back to it. Whoops, I did not put in my status down here, though. I forgot this section. So after you enter the names here, we have this section down here for the announcement. And so there's two ways to do the announcement here. You can either announce it that night, or if some of the units prefer to keep that, keep who won maybe till summer camp or at a call out event, you can do a future date and put in here when they're going to announce that, and the emails will adjust accordingly. So if it hasn't been announced, they won't get an email saying congratulations until after May 17th. For our purposes tonight, we're going to say we announced it that night. Following the always best practice, we announced it that night. We set their call out event to week 1 of summer camp, and their welcome event is fall fellowship. These pull from your events in LodgeMaster. We may not get to how you set those up. That's a kind of a topic for another night, but somebody in your lodge could probably help you get those events set up, or contact us. And down here, this is where you put in those counts from the unit election report. So the unit has 20 active youth. There was 20. They were all there. They had 9 eligible. We had 20 ballots turned in. We have to have 10 or half. And then we had, let's see, how many elected? I wasn't keeping track here, but let's see, 1, 2, only 3. Let's change that to 4. That seems like a bad number. So 4 elected. If you put a number in here wrong, you'll get a nice little message from LodgeMaster letting you know that, hey, you may have a number wrong. You put in that they need 15 votes, but red flag, there's only 20 people there. Half of that would be 10, so it keeps track of that. Enter the unit leader's name, that they were there and approved it. And then I can save and close, or I can submit for approval. I can save and close this and come back to it. Maybe I just want to make sure I'm all good, or I'm waiting on some piece of information from the Scoutmaster for a candidate or something. I can come back and edit that. Or I'll go in and I can submit for approval. I think everything is good. Whoops. Our demo environment here. I have an election in the future. You can't do an election before it happens. Our little demo here, we'll just slide this back that it happened on the 9th. And now that is posted. At this point, it drops off my dashboard. Crew 90 is no longer here. I'm done with that. Now this moves over to the lodge side, the lodge admin side of this process. So the chapters go through, they do this process. Our nice little graph up here, updated. It was hard to see because we're kind of under 10, but we did complete and the scheduled. Those move along as we schedule things. Now, if we pretend we're on the lodge side, or somebody with approval access, if they come in to visit election management, you'll see this Crew 90 is posted here. So I'll come in to view and approve. As the lodge person, I can change anything about this. I can add any data I want to this report. If I see that the youth put in something wrong or didn't put in there, I can change it. I can put in the visit team who did this election. Maybe the team's not filled out, but we know that Chad, Mike, and Rob crew handled that election. And so we put their names in there. Not required, but just a good way to track who did those elections, who the adults were that went with them. We put in names of whoever did this election for the adults. We can come down here, we can change a status. If we look at the paper that they submitted and, oh, they made a mistake. This person declined, but then they were elected. We we figured that out. We resolved that with the Scoutmaster. We can mark them elected. If I know, oh, they're actually coming to week 2, you get the idea. You can change all that. I can save and close it. I can come back into it, and then I can approve the election. I get a warning, they'll be converted to Ordeal candidates in LodgeMaster, and you can't undo this. If you're doing a lot and you do this process and you realize you have to go through and delete those manually, and it'll just be a lot of work. So just make sure you're good to convert these when you do. Hit OK. LodgeMaster behind the scenes has marked that approved. It shoved those candidates over to members. If I go to members and then elected candidates, you can see our demo environment. They came over here. They're in here somewhere. There's our crew 90 folks right there. They came over as candidates. Um, at this point, emails start happening. And so the candidates get an invite to go to the lodge portal. They claim their account. Once they claim their account, they get access to the portal, the member journeys, and they start getting emails about the upcoming call outs and ordeals and all the events that they should attend. Here's a congratulations email about, they've been elected to the OA, what happens. They get that portal invite. Attending your call out ceremony, they get a nice email following up about attending a call out and how to register, has the contacts in there. And so forth, a lot of emails that they get. Part of the inductions process is about timed out, is the member portal that they get access to. And we'll see if I remember here who was who. I believe this was our candidate. Yeah, so here, this is the member portal. We've talked about this on some other webinars, and we'll talk about it this summer at our training. But the member portal has 3 journeys built into it. The Ordeal journey, the new member journey, and the Brotherhood journey. Has the calendar for the lodge and how to contact it, update your profile stuff. But the piece I want to show is here. When a candidate logs in, it shows the upcoming Ordeal weekends. It has the link to register, has when all the options are. Once they actually register for this, it'll show that they've registered. It won't prompt them to register. They then can come in here and do the Ordeal journey. This is meant to engage those candidates until leading up to their Ordeal. So they can come in here and they can do their journey. You can watch videos. There's text to read. Here's a link to go register. They can complete it, and it keeps track of what they've completed. Here's how to, prepare their Friday night, bedroll of what they need to bring. And this is all customizable. We put in some of these for you, but the lodge has the ability to customize this. And if we have some time, I'll show you how to do that. That's kind of the next advanced part of the inductions, but know that lodges can build this out, put as many steps in here as they want, and it keeps track of where they're at. Back on the LodgeMaster side, at this point, those candidates are ready, and we'll go through LodgeMaster just like any other candidate in LodgeMaster. They're in the member module. You can send them emails. You can resend portal invites. You can update their information. Back in the elections module, though, if I go to visit election management and I go to crew 90, we have some printable letters in here. We also have labels in here. So if the lodge, you want to send them a congratulations letter, you can do that. We have pre-built letters in here. You can run them for the whole all chapters or just yours. You can put in your deal costs, extra things they need to bring. Not the food items, but any extra items that they should bring to the weekend. You can put in here the registration URL for the event, so you can put in that link to where to register. We then have some pre-built what to bring. You can add those in, take them out. And when I run this letter, you'll see here these very nice personalized letters from your lodge chief. Tells them when the upcoming dates are for the events, what to bring. There's the cost. Here's how to register. It also has who to contact if they have questions. So these are all in here. You can print those out and mail them. We put the labels right in here to make it super easy to send those through the mail if that is something your lodge does. I didn't point it out, but we do have scheduling letters in here too. You can send these out or put them in roundtable packets or send them out for all the unit leaders of how to schedule their election or asking them to schedule that election. And so those are in here as well. We also have a data export, the unit visit, um, and this exports a nice report for those data hungry folks who like looking at raw data. You can look in here of um, the this election data, the unit visit data. This grid is fully filterable to make it easy for the lodge to find all those that are posted that have not been approved. The chapter can come in here and see all those that are requested. You can see which have been scheduled, all the upcoming. So this is very flexible. Um, we have some a column chooser in here, so you can customize this grid. So if maybe we're looking at all those approved, and then I want to look at the announcement status. Um, oh, we have the counts here already in our grid, but if you want to look at how many were elected and so on and so forth, we have just a bunch of columns that you can put in there. Um, to do that, we also have the grouping, to group by different columns and things to just give you access to that data to do reporting and analysis of your elections. At the same time, now that election has been approved, the unit, excuse me, will get an email about submitting adults. And I know we had quite a few questions come in beforehand about adults. Uh, the link is included in the email. You can get that link at any time by going into the induction, the election record, and here's that submit eligible or submit adult nomination link. When they take that, they click that again, single sign on, takes them to our adult nomination page where they can submit adults. So they come in here. I can submit up to 4 nominations because I believe we had 5 or 6 youth approved. It automatically calculates per the BSI policy or the OA policy how many adults they get. They submit adult nomination. They fill this out. This replaces that old paper form that the lodge had. Once they submit that, it comes in here to our adult nominations tab. So here you can see that we had a crew 48 submitted an adult. I can come in here and edit this and look at everything that they submitted. I can put in if I need updating information. If they sent, I submitted an adult nomination, but I forgot to put something in for a training that they did. You can come in here and put that in there. And put that in there. I can save and close this and come back to it. We then have the approval, the approval and the decline process. You can decline it. You can't undo it. So if don't mistakenly decline that. But if I save and approve, again, you get that warning about it's going to make them a candidate, and I hit OK. That pops on over into our members, elected candidates. There's that adult candidate. They get that invite to the portal, and the adults follow a pretty similar process to the youth, where they get those emails inviting them to register for events. Those emails it takes them all the way through completing an ordeal, and so they once they register for an event, we keep track of if they attended that event. If they attend that event, they get an email on congratulations on completing your ordeal. If they don't attend, we send them emails. Hey, sorry we missed you at the ordeal, but here's the upcoming next opportunities that you can do your ordeal. And so that's the true power of this module, is it takes a lot of that manual follow-up out of the process and engages those candidates from day one for you. It sends all those emails about register for call-out, register for your ordeal. We missed you. Here's the next opportunity, and guides them to this member portal where you can see here, Caitlin Hill, I registered for this. We registered for summer camp ordeal induction week 1. I can continue my journey. And this takes them all the way through brotherhood. If I go back, we have a brotherhood candidate in our sandbox here. I believe it's Johnny Ehrman. He's a brotherhood candidate. You can see here, he congratulations on becoming a member of the RDR. So the portal dynamically updates because he's a new candidate. I can go to the upcoming events, see all the upcoming events for the lodge. And we have the new member journey. This is different than the ordeal journey. So they can come in here and work through this. This is all customizable. We put in some out of the box, but your lodge can customize this. You can see our lodge here is promoting the E20 Conclave. It's going to happen June 10th to the 12th. And we have a nice link to go register for that conclave. I've completed that and the journey updates. I mentioned through Brotherhood, our last little sandbox magic here. We have Terrell here. He is Brotherhood eligible. So you can see Brotherhood. We also show them, again, LodgeMaster, the intelligence of LodgeMaster. We show them which events are offering Brotherhood and promote them, or promote to them to do their Brotherhood. They get those emails. They come into the portal. They can do their Brotherhood journey. They can see those upcoming events, and they can register for those. When Johnny registers for an event that's going to that has a Brotherhood flag enabled, so I registered for this. If we hop back to our portal with our little magic here, you can see now I'm registered to do my Brotherhood week 1, and they can complete the journey. Once they complete that journey, the member portal automatically switches over and becomes just the member portal. I want to say just the member portal, but it drops out that Ordeal stuff, and they just have the update the profile where they can get their membership card, they can update their address, they can contact the lodge, and things like that. That all happens in the portal. Everything happens in LodgeMaster the exact same as it does if you're, weren't using inductions. Once you put them through an ordeal, you complete the ordeal. They show up in all the same views. They're full regular members in LodgeMaster at this point. And the inductions, the inductions module gets them to the point of a Brotherhood member, and takes out a lot of that. Like I said, the manual work. It's just, especially for some of our smaller lodges where you maybe don't have, the ability to maybe follow up with those candidates because you're a small team. You can use LodgeMaster will do that for you, and even in our bigger lodges, we've seen a lot of success with that. I will show very quickly an induction setup. All the way at the bottom is here's those journeys. So we have the Ordeal candidate, the new member, and the Brotherhood candidate. We got about 3 minutes left. So the Brotherhood candidate, these all work the same. I can pick which one I want to modify. If I want to add something to the Ordeal candidate, I can hit add step. And in here, you put in a name, a description, the type. So if it's text read, you can fill this out. This is our new text editor. You may have seen this in the email module. This is our new editor. A link to view, you can put in the URL. Video to watch, this is where you can put some text, and you can actually embed a video. We support YouTube and Vimeo. And then we have audio to listen to, where you can actually put a link to like an MP3 file, and they can listen to that and mark it off. These work the same for all three. You can change the order. You can see which ones are the system ones in here. You can't delete those. But you can add and edit and delete your custom ones. You can move them around, and it applies for all of them. Within the inductions module, if you have access to it, there's several permissions around inductions, which we won't cover tonight, but if you have Q&A or you have questions about it, put them in the Q&A, because what we can do demos during the Q&A, I can show that. But if you have access to communications history, our Sandbox Lodge hasn't sent any emails yet, but if you once the module has sent emails, you will see them in here. It'll tell you who they went to and what email they were. Let me look. I believe I have a sandbox. We have a sandbox with some demo data. I can show that. But that's a good way to come in and debug who got emails. If you go in there, you can see exactly which emails they got. And here's an example of what that looks like on what emails they got. The thing, a common question we get is, we've already, to the LodgeMaster, we've already started our induction process. We're using Google Sheets. You at any point can come in and pick up using this module. It doesn't have to be before your elections start. You can come in here, put dates in the induction setup. In the past, our election started January 1st, but they go till September. You can come in here at any point throughout that period and start using this module. If you've already entered candidates in LodgeMaster, that's totally fine. You can come in here and just pick up doing those units that you haven't completed yet. There's no issue with doing that. That's a pretty common question, and we encourage you, if you haven't used it but you like what you see, or you want to use part of it, maybe you don't want all the emails to go out, go ahead and turn some of those emails off and just use it to start tracking those candidates. Um, you don't have to use everything right away. If you want to dive into the deep end, you're more than welcome to. The LodgeMaster team would be happy to support any questions you have in that. Um, we are at our magic number here of 850, and to respect people's time, we will this will be kind of the end of the demo of the inductions module. I know that was pretty quick, but we wanted to give people an idea of what exactly the inductions module could do. And so hopefully you're able to see that, or this sparks some questions that you could send us in the Q&A or send us after, and we'll get to those. So very quickly moving through NOAC training this summer. If you missed the memo, NOAC is this summer at the University of Colorado Boulder. So we have the LodgeMaster team has 4 training opportunities at NOAC if you're going to be joining us in person at CU using LodgeMaster successfully in your lodge. The digital inductions tool. So we'll do an hour and 45 minutes on these digital inductions tools, where we'll go more in depth on permissions and communications and more reporting and custom views and things like that. What's new in LodgeMaster? Well, we'll talk about our online payments, the mobile app, and some other things on Wednesday morning. And then on Thursday, something new that we're offering at NOAC this year is our LodgeMaster workshop. So from about 2 hours on Thursday morning, the LodgeMaster team will be available, where you can just come and ask us questions. Bring your laptops, bring your tablets, bring your problems, and come find us. And we're happy to, we'll work hands-on with your lodge on whatever problems you have or questions you have. So we're excited about that because it's something new and something that people are, after our trainings, we have people that stick around for as long as we would stay there asking questions and wanting us to look at things. So now we have enough, an actual time slot where we can, do that workshop. If you're into technology, but not specific, if you're into technology in general, there are a couple other OA technology trainings. The LodgeMaster team will actually be leading that mobile app for your event, where we'll talk about building a mobile app for your events, including events where there's no Wi-Fi and no cell service, offline apps. And then some of the other technology things going on, you can see that. That'll all be in NORS. You can go register for that. And we'll send things out as we get closer. If you're not a member of our user group, we encourage you to join that, where you can ask questions. Really, really great community where if you're a new user, post your question there. And some of the lodges have used LodgeMaster for a really long time, and some of our good admins are in there, and they're more than happy to help you out and tell you how your lodge is doing. The discussion is great in there. I highly recommend to get on there. Our feature upvote site, LodgeMaster-features, where you can submit feature requests and see. You can follow us online. It's where we post announcements and such. The LodgeMaster Support Center, LodgeMaster Support, LodgeMaster-support, support at lodgemaster.oa-bsi.org, and status.oa-bsi.org, where you can check system status and answer questions, or see the status, and you can submit questions to the support center. But with that, we will move into our question and answer. Standing by on this webinar, I guess at the beginning we forgot to introduce ourselves, but I'm Chad Blanchard. Also working the Q&A behind the scenes, fast and furious, is Michael Card and Robert Anstut, the other 2 core members of the LodgeMaster team there. And I see they've answered well over 50 questions already. And so we're going to transition here and start answering some of these live. So I see, Mike, you have a couple queued up here. Do you want to go ahead and answer those?
Sure. So we got a couple questions that I thought would be great to answer live. One of them was on what's meant by a welcome event that you saw during the demonstration that Chad gave. That is a concept that was created as part of the induction process a few years back by the OA. And if you input that information, it feeds into the printable letter that we have. And just as basically the idea of the event is an event where candidates would come before their induction and get more comfortable with the OA before before their actual induction weekend. So we just have it set up so that that can help feed into the letter and be part of the information you have for every unit. Chad, we have a question that maybe you can answer about how easy it is to take an OA eligible extract from Scout Book to import into inductions. I don't know if we have an actual example of what Scout Book would look like, but basically any document we could be used for the import that Scout Book spits out, I would think, right?
Yeah, there's a report in there where you can export. There is an OA eligible. I don't know if that's still in the latest version, but the units can definitely export that list. You may need to do some work on the columns because they are a little bit different, but a lot of the data can be exported. But we don't have a template, but maybe somebody could post a template in the user group with no member data in it.
All right. We did have a question on how do you get the link for a unit if they can't find the email for scheduling their election or submitting their eligible youth. I don't know if that's something you could show quickly. I think that's good for everybody to see.
Yes. Let me. So in the election record, Mike, what was the link that they wanted? Sorry, the
Uh, both submitting the eligible youth and also scheduling the election.
Oh, okay. Yep. So an election that's not scheduled, if I go to one to not schedule and I hit schedule, here's where you can get that link. You can copy that and email it to them, following YPT guidelines, or you can, you can click that and actually see what they would see. The links for submitting youth, once it's been scheduled, if I hit edit on that election record, there's that submit eligible youth link. I can copy that and send it following YPT guidelines. And then the adult, once it's been approved, there's that link to submit adult. Again, I can copy that and send that following YPT guidelines.
Awesome. We had a question on if candidates are carried over, how do emails work, and which email settings are used? And the answer to that is there's always just 1 year live for the inductions communications. So if there's eligible candidates from previous years, they'll be using the email template and the information and emails that are live for this year. It won't use anything from the previous induction year. And one,
Oh, go
good.
ahead. I see we've had a few questions about remote delegates because NOAC is unfortunately sold out. It's not something we specifically talk about, but I do, we do have the ability to do Zoom and invite people in. We'll work with remote delegates group to see what we can do, but we'll do our very best to make sure that our remote delegates that you guys can all join us. And we definitely have the means if that's something we can do, and we'd love to have as many of you there as we can.
And we did have one other question I wanted to cover live. There was a question about if somebody inputs a call out date. Can you pull up managing an election? One's that's scheduled, yeah, or something. So scroll down to the announcement information.
Oh, I need to post the
Yeah.
results then.
There you go. So we have a call out date option in there, and somebody asked about if you select a call out date, will the messages not go out until the call out date happens? And the answer to that is no. It's based on that future date that you input in that first field. So make sure you input that future date as the date of the call out event too. It's nothing tied specifically to the call out event related to when announcements go out. So make sure you input that future date as the date of the call out. And we did have another question related to it is if you input a future date, does it go out early on that date? So if you, let's say your announcement is done on April 13th, this coming Saturday, the emails won't start going out until Sunday, April 14th. So if you put a future date, you don't have to worry that the announcement's going to go out earlier in a day before the actual announcement happens. It'll always be the next date after that future date that you input.
We had a question about candidates, our candidates that are under 13. They currently don't get access to the member portal. We are working with the BSA on a way to allow adults to approve that. So we are working on that, but yeah, as of right now, an under 13 can't, just for our, the safety of those youth, but we are working on it.
We did have a couple questions throughout the night about how to access the member portal as a candidate to see how things work. You can always submit a ticket and Chad can set you up with a member access on one of our dev sites, and you can go in and see how the journeys work and how the member portal looks for as an incoming candidate.
We had a number of questions submitted beforehand. If you're hanging out here, I know we're coming up right on time, but if you're still hanging out, we'll hang out for a few more minutes. We will follow up via email. We had a couple dozen questions submitted beforehand, and we're just unfortunately not going to be able to get to all those, but we will follow up afterwards. With that, if anybody has any final Q&A, we would invite you to go ahead and get submit those here. We'll hang out for another minute or so. But we do want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. We know it's been a while since we did our last one. We were very excited to do this. We love interacting with everybody. The community is great to work with. And so look for us at NOAC. We'd love to see you at one of our trainings. And we'll work on the remote delegate to maybe see you virtually. But with that, thanks for what you do. We'll hang out for another minute if you have any final questions. But with that, the LodgeMaster team will sign off and see you this summer in Colorado. There was a question I can answer quick for if you're still on. If you put when you select the call out event in the election, does it put them into that event? It does not. You still have to register them for that event. All right, thank you, everyone. We'll see you this summer at NOAC.